Welcome everyone to the Moisky News for March the 23rd, 2020. Today I want to talk about the self-employed and what the government is going to do to help them through these somewhat trying times. As a self-employed man, yes, away from YouTube, I have a job, I was keen to hear what Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson and others, perhaps the Prime Minister himself, Dominic Cummings, would say on this matter, because there are concerns. For myself, it is the suspension of, I would argue, 90% of my contracts, as they are bars and pubs. The only remaining one is a bakery, but if rumours are to be believed, the country is going on absolute lockdown today, and that will therefore be suspended indefinitely as well, meaning that my options are limited. David Davis, the former Brexit secretary, who negotiated most of it before he gave up to Dominic Raab, who did nothing and gave that up to Stephen Barclay, believes that more needs to be done to help the 5 million self-employed people in the United Kingdom. This all comes after Rishi Sunak on Friday announced plans to pay 80% of salaries to staff kept on by employers. And currently, this is where we find out what the government's going to do to help us, those that are self-employed can only claim statutory sick pay of £92 a week if they can prove their income exceeds £119 a week. No one can live on that, unless they are, let's say, living at home with family and have very few bills. To speak on this pertinent issue, Stephen Barclay, the Treasury Minister, former Brexit secretary, believes that it would be operationally hard to protect those incomes and instead referenced the current protections of self-assessment tax requirements, payment holidays for mortgages, and by making the welfare safety net stronger. Okay, so let's just talk about that. The government's position, in essence, is, if you are self-employed, it's okay because the welfare system is there for you. You can claim welfare. You can go claim universal credit and wait 5 weeks to get anything. I, personally, will not be doing this. I went self-employed because I was sick of being unemployed. I went self-employed because I didn't want the government in my life beyond me paying my taxes and national insurance. I went self-employed because you guys let me down. While I sought help, all you did was make me sign a piece of paper and then shoo me out of the door. You are a feckless system that does not exist to help anyone, which is why one had to learn very fast that they have to help themselves. And if the country is placed on a lockdown, helping oneself means I thankfully, while having a contingency, have to rely on that. Which is this, in fact. I don't want to rely on this as a regular source of income, but I now have to, until my work is reinstated. To fob the self-employed off in the manner that you have, I can understand, but I also disagree with. The self-employed make up a vast amount of the workforce of this country, and telling them benefits are your way forward and statutory sick pay is not acceptable. But I do understand why it is the only option you have, which is why I hold back on the disdain I have towards you, Stephen Barclay and Rishi Sunak, for not properly addressing that, because you still haven't properly addressed how you're going to help the zero-hour contract people. I would assume, because they're zero-hour contracts, something I fundamentally am opposed to, you'll tell them, don't worry, the welfare state is there for you, because what we really want to do is start reliving 1997 all over again. The General Secretary for the Trade Union Congress told the BBC Today programme that the lack of measures that were put in place for the self-employed will cause real hardship unless they get to grips with it, which I totally agree with, but also understand why this difficult position we're all put in really does damage to independent and self-employed people because there's no way of protecting them. The idea that those that are self-employed should have to rely on things like universal credit when so many are self-employed to avoid benefits, like myself, is insulting. But I will concede, and I can totally understand, that the difficult position many of us are in will undoubtedly put us in those positions where we have to claim it. I will not claim a penny from the state if I can avoid it, and I luckily can avoid it, so I will not claim it. With this, I do want to know what you think, Because this is quite serious. Do you think there is a way of possibly helping the self-employed? Or do you think that perhaps the government is right in this? Please do let me know in the comments down below. As a final thing, I am going to stream some Euro Truck on Omegon Plays tonight. Link to that down below.